Imagine if you sacrificed 5 years of your life. Imagine if you sacrificed all of that time working hard, saving, investing, learning, so that you can live like no one else, so that you can have a life where you live freely, where you live abundantly, and where you live with choice. I think a lot of you guys who are younger, who are sort of seeing through the lies of the corporate system, seeing through the lies of the 9 to 5, seeing through the or maybe just seeing how most people are not happy with life, right? You go around and you're just not really, you're not really, what's the word? Like you look around and you just see most people are just kind of like blah, right? Like they're not really, they don't really have a zest for life. There's no growth. There's no, there's no zest, there's no want for more. There's kind of just a lot of complacency, right? I think that's the best word to describe it, right? A lot of people are just complacent, right? Let's face it. You go to work, you do what you have to do, you clock out, you go home, and that's it, right? That's what most people do. If you sacrifice 5 years of your life, let's say you're 20 years old, you're 18 years old, right? And you sacrifice 5 years. So let's say you're 20 to 25, right? If you work super hard, right? If you stay to yourself, right? You don't go out, you don't date. That's not to say you shouldn't entertain people or whatnot, but you stay to yourself, you're committed to learning something, and you save your money, maybe you live at home and you're able to learn how to invest, you can live freely for the rest of your life, right? Let's say you make 50K a year, right? Or maybe 60K, 70K in that range, right? Working 2 jobs, or maybe you're making a lot. Let's say you're a truck driver, right? Just giving you guys some examples. And you're able to pocket all of that money. You could have like $200,000 in 5 years. That's an easy down payment on a house. That's an easy investment property. And that's also money that you could allocate into Bitcoin. That's money that you can allocate into Ethereum. That's money that you can allocate into index funds, and you could also use that money to start learning how to trade options, right? So the investment game that you would be able to partake in could yield results that would literally, maybe not free you for the rest of your life, but let's say you have a few $100,000, right? You get one real estate property, you get another, right? Now let's say you're netting 2 to 3K a month, right? And you're still working. You don't have to work 2 jobs now, right? Instead of working those, that extra 2K that you made from your second job, right? Or whatever, working extra hours, that money's coming from your real estate. So you don't have to deal with working super hard now at age 25, right? So I want you guys to get in this mindset where your investment game is it's your hedge against having to work and having to partake in slave-like behavior for the rest of your life, right? So, the 40-hour work week, guys, is starting to fade away. I think that, maybe we used to be able to work 40 hours and get by or even save, right? Like, I feel like maybe there was a day back, I don't know when, but there was maybe a day 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago where maybe we would be able to work 40 hours and be able to pocket some money, right? But those days are over, and I don't know how long it's been since we've been able to do that as Americans or people in general, but the reality that is present, the reality is, if you don't take your life seriously, if you don't get your investing game on point, and if you're not able to create passive income in some way, shape or form, whether it's a combination of the assets that I've been talking about and I continue to talk about on this channel, you're going to be doomed to have to work 70, 80 hours a week, right? The only way you can escape that is if you choose to get a skill that is in high demand, right? Now, some of you guys, let's be honest, you don't want to go into these jobs that require you to study for a long period of time, or that require you to learn something, which is understandable, right? Not everyone wants to be a truck driver. Not everyone wants to be in the trades, right? But I think for the most part, right, you have to be good at something, whether that's investing, whether that's trading, or maybe that's coaching, maybe that's learning how to sell, maybe that's learning how to write. The point being is that you have to be good at something that gives service to other people, right? Transportation, truck driving, right? Why do most people not want to do that? Or why do most people not want to get in the trades? Because it's boring, because it's laborious. But guess what? You know why it pays so well? Because we all fucking need electricity. We all need heating and refrigeration. We all need food, right? So we need truck drivers to deliver the goods from wherever, the factories to the grocery stores. So the point is that you need to somehow develop an ability to give value, right? Some expertise in something. And whether, again, that could be a personal brand, that could be, if you're more on the people side of things, maybe, because let's face it, truck driving, the trades, right? That's not for everybody, because not everyone just wants to do manual, grunt work labor, right? Some of us are more, we want to help other people, right? We want to be in direct relationship to other people, right? Whether that's helping people, speaking with them and giving them advice or whatever. So again, there's many different ways to become valuable to other human beings. It's just about you figuring out what it is, what you're good at, right? And then delivering that, right? And going in on it, right? That's what I think you should spend your time while obviously working, right? Like, you also want to be thinking like age 20, 18 to 25, 20 to 25, whatever, right? That's kind of the time where you're in high school or maybe you're in college. It's not so much about like, because people say, what do you want to do, right? That's a question I got asked so many times. What do you want to do? Who do you want to be? Not who do you want to be, but like, what's going to be the thing that you do that makes money, right? That's pretty much when your grandparents ask you that, when your aunts, your uncles, maybe your friends, your parents especially. I don't want you to think about what you want to do as much as what do I have a knack for, and what do I feel that I'm inclined to, right? Because you can do anything. You can force yourself to do anything, right? You can force yourself to pick fruit. You can force yourself to learn something, right? But guys, and this is the big picture message I really want to get across here in this video. What are like, not what makes you happy, right? But what do you feel as the thing that is actually going to be sustainable, that you feel like you can do, that's a sustainable long-term lifetime thing, or at least the majority of your life, right? Like, hey, for example, if you can see yourself driving a truck, right, for 30 or 40 years and going that route, go ahead, right? If you can see yourself fixing cars, if you can see yourself fixing, what's it called? Electricity, if you can, see yourself fixing, or laying down carpentry or welding, if you can see yourself doing shit like that, great, right? If you can see yourself speaking, if you can see yourself writing, if you can see yourself, getting on calls with people or meeting up with people and helping them out and giving them tools, or if you can see yourself investing in the stock market and learning about that, then go down that route, right? But the first 5 years of your life, I think you should at least, while you're working hard, right? I think it's important to not get lost in that. I think it's also important to simultaneously just be thinking about what's the next step, right? Because let's face it, working 70, 80 hours a week, no one wants to do that forever. That's why I say you pick a 5-year window, right? And you sacrifice and you dedicate 95% of your time to that so that you can eventually transition into something else. But the problem is that here's where most people get stuck or just never start. They don't even develop the work ethic, or they don't even get to a point where they have enough money to make a change, right? I think a lot of people get stuck in life because they don't take their youth seriously. And then also, it's not even that they don't take their youth seriously. Like, if you don't take your youth seriously, of course, in your 30s, you can, wake up and start to get things going, right? But I think also a lot of people, they fuck up early in life as well. I just made a video mentioning, people who have kids too early, right? That is gonna fuck you up, right? You have kids too early, you have 2-3 kids in a 5-year span or 6-7 year span, right? Now, the extra money that you would have to be able to invest or be able to pay for an education that would give you a high income job or whatever, now that's hindered because you have kids to pay for, right? Or again, you get divorced, or you got married and you got split, you got to pay child support, alimony, whatever. That money that is going to those kids, or is, whatever, that money could have gone to investing, and that money could have gone to helping you get ahead so that you could have a better life. But now you made mistakes early on. Now what are you going to do about it, right? You have to wait. Maybe, I mean, there's still obviously hope, but it's kind of at a point where, you wasted a lot of time. So I just want you guys to get in this mindset early on in life, because you can start getting your shit together at any time, right? But again, with kids, with a relationship, right, it's harder, right? Because you have commitments, you have to, they take energy away from you. Kids take energy, right? They take energy, they take attention, especially, when kids get older, right? They take more out of you, right? Because they need more. So I want you guys to take a 5-year span of time and dedicate that time to money, right? I don't think, because a lot of people say you should, spend a lot of time, meditating and working out and journaling and shit like that. No, if I could really go back, I'm 25, right? If I could go back to 17, 18, 19, I would have not gone to college at all, right? And I also would have worked more, right? Like in high school, I was working only like 20 hours a week. I would have worked 30 at least. I know there's certain like laws where you can't work over a certain over a certain amount of hours a week as a minor or whatever. But going back, I wish I just focused more on money. I wish I would have focused more on investing, learning about the stock market, learning about how to create income, and just anything that I found an interest in, right? I wasted a lot of time playing video games, a lot of time playing Halo. I played a shit ton of Halo. I wasted a lot of time watching porn, I'll be honest, right? I've made videos on that, right? Back in high school, back in college, when I really should have been focused on money and figuring things out, I was just whacking off to porn. I remember there would be days where I'd whack off 2 to 3 times a day. And it's just, when you're so consumed in energy sapping activities like porn and I mean, video games aren't really like an energy zapper, but they take up a lot of time. There's nothing there's nothing you can do, right? Because for the most part, if you're in school or you work, right, the only time you have, right, to learn about money or to build a side hustle or to work extra is those off hours, right? So I think you guys need to use your time wisely, and also just think to yourself, like, you don't have that much time, right? Time goes by really fast. I'm 25, right? Like, I feel like I still feel young, but I also I'm like, damn, dude, I'm already 25. I mean, I'm still young, of course, but I just think of how much time I wasted and how much time I wish I could get back, right? Like, I could really think to myself right now that there's a good 2 to 3 years that I wish I could have got back, right? And I'd be way far ahead. I probably wouldn't be doing all the extra side jobs and side hustles that I'm doing right now. But, you have to get your shit together at some point. Obviously, getting your shit together at 24, 25 is better than 30, 35, right? But I just want to make this for a lot of you guys who are younger than me, or maybe you're the same age, to really focus big on money. Money is one of the most important things, right? There's a lot of people right now in your life that might tell you money's not important or money doesn't make you happy. All of that talk is centered on people who are average and who are living average life, right? An average life. When people tell you money isn't important, or people tell you, you work too much, I've heard that so many times. I could like literally throw up right now, like with thinking about the amount of times I've heard, you work too much, money's not that important, take a day off, right? All of this shit, right? But again, ask yourself the question, right? Can you look at those people right now and look them dead in the eye and be like, I want to be like you? I can't think of one person who's told me money doesn't matter. I can't think of one person who's told me you work too much, you work too hard, take it easy. I can't think of one person who has told me that I'm like, yeah, you know what? I want to be like you someday. There's not one. So be careful. I think it's best, obviously, to keep to yourself during this time as well. You don't want to be out and about too much, around people that are average. Like, there's so many people right now also that I went to school with they're in the same position, right? They're in the same position doing the same thing, right? They're making the same amount of money, or maybe making no money, right? Living the same lifestyle, smoking the same weed, drinking the same alcohol, seeing the same girls, right? Doing the same bullshit, right? And they're 25, 26, 27, whatever. But they're in the same spot. They're not even in a better position, right? Financially, lifestyle, whatever, job wise. So I want you guys to really focus right now, dedicate this time to study, dedicate this time to working really hard, making money, learning how to invest, and also asking yourself the question, how am I going to best serve humanity? How am I going to best serve other human beings? Because once you are able to answer that question, right, once you're able to figure out what you want in that regard, right, and how you wish to serve, right, that's going to be the most paramount thing in your life, because that's going to be the thing that you spend most of your time doing, right? That's the thing you're going to spend 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week doing. So you want to be crystal clear. At least you might not know exactly how, but you want to be at least crystal clear at what you're good at, right? Whether it's speaking, whether it's interacting one-on-one with people, writing, or maybe, again, maybe it's more manual labor. Maybe you want to help society, fix its infrastructure, build infrastructure. Maybe you want to be in transportation, right? But there's no escaping service, right? I think there's also this weird idea that we can somehow live free and not have to work. There's less laborious forms of work. There's work that doesn't require as much toil, like this right now, right? I don't even really consider this work, right? I'm talking, I'm still burning calories, I'm still using energy, but it's not as laborious, right? So, and some of the work you do might be laborious, but the point is that you can't escape any form of work. The day you stop serving humanity is the day you go broke, right? If you never want to worry about money again, just tell yourself that I will always be of service to other human beings. If you're always of service to other human beings in some way, shape, or form, you'll never go broke, right? So anyways, that's it, guys. Yeah, I mean, I think I made all my points very clear, but, ask yourself the question, how am I best going to serve other human beings, right? Whether that's helping them with addictions, helping them with their health, helping them with their mind, helping them understand money, helping them understand careers, relationships, right? There's so many different ways we can help each other and serve each other, right? But it takes time, right? And don't worry about necessarily how, right? Just take a little bit of action each day, right? Each day, life reveals itself, right? That's one thing I've also learned. At age 25, right? Life, as you go, as you work towards your dreams or whatever, as you work towards your goals and things coming together, life just starts to reveal itself day to day. So don't worry about how you're going to get there. Don't worry about 2 years from now, 3, 4 years from now. Just worry about what you can do today, right? That'll get you a little bit closer. And if you do that consistently, if you're able to save your money, right? If you're able to invest and you're able to figure out how you want to serve people, you'll live a great life, right? You won't have to deal with most of the problems that human beings deal with as it relates to money today. So anyways, guys, that's it. That's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. And as always, I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.